Hello everyone. So Economic Survey 2017-18 has been released. So let's talk about some important points from the Economic Survey, right? So let's start. So the thing is, what Economic Survey is saying that GDP growth could accelerate to 7 to 7.5% in 2018-19, reinstating India as world's fastest growing major economy. Now, whatever things we'll be studying about Economic Survey, this will be important from GS mains, paper 3 as well as prelims point of view, right? So this becomes very important, right? So Economic Survey is saying that the way GDP growth is accelerating, it could accelerate to 7 to 7.5% in 2018-19. And they're also saying that steps taken to address twin balance sheet problem. Before we talk about the steps taken to address twin balance sheet problem, we have to understand what is twin balance sheet problem. So twin balance sheet problem, twin means two, right? So twin balance sheet problem means first over leveraged companies. So companies have taken too much of debt and now they are not able to pay for it. And that is first, over leveraged companies. Second is bad loan encumbered banks, right? So that means bank is straddling or suffering from NPA problem. So this is twin balance sheet problem. It is in news from last 2-3 economic surveys, right? So survey is saying that there are certain steps which has been taken to address twin balance sheet problems. And what are those steps? First step is IBC. What is IBC? Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, right? And we are seeing lots and lots of changes are being made by government in IBC so that there was one one news where government was trying to promote or trying to prevent the defaulters from taking over the same company, right? So government has again made some amendments in insolvency and bankruptcy code. Again, we don't need to go in that deep into detail. Just try to understand. Economic Survey is talking about two specific steps which has been taken by government to address twin balance sheet problems. And what are those two specific steps? First is insolvency and bankruptcy code, and second is recapitalization of banks. Now again, recapitalization of bank and recapitalization bonds. So I have talked about these things in previous GS3 monthly videos. So but again, recapitalization bond, lots of economists are saying that it is akin to taking money from one pocket and putting into another, right? It's not like, and it is fiscal deficit neutral. Government will not incurring any more fiscal deficit on account of these recapitalization bonds, although it will raise the debt stock of the government, right? And that is the whole thing. So not too much of a pressure on government because of the recapitalization bond. So these are the two steps which has been taken to address twin balance sheet problem. And they are also saying that, Economic Survey is also saying that fair winds of a global recovery have already lent a lift to overseas demand for India's goods and services, right? So export was somewhat timid in the last 1 or 2 fiscal year, but now it is picking up because global recovery has taken place after the economic crisis of 2008-9, right? Now the thing is, Economic Survey is also talking about the need to strengthen only two truly sustainable engines, which are private investment and exports. Now, earlier also I have talked about there are 4 engines of growth. 4 engines. What are those 4 engines? First is, like 2 we have talked now, private investment and export. What are the other 2? The other 2 are government investment and private consumption. Government investment is also called public investment. So understand this. So the survey is saying that out of the 4 engines of growth, only 2 are truly sustainable. Now these 2 becomes important from prelims point of view also, right? Or even just try to remember the 4 engines of growth, because this particular topic has been talked about a lot by Hindu in the last 6-7 months. So it becomes very important from prelims as well as GS mains paper 3 point of view, right? And survey is also talking about infrastructure. Infrastructure is a specific topic under GS3, right? And survey is saying that India needs $4.5 trillion for infrastructure, and investment gap would be about $526 billion by 2040 according to survey. And this is fine, data, even if you don't remember, it doesn't matter, but there are certain things which survey has said which is important to remember. What is that? Survey has said that under investment in infrastructure sector until recently was due to a collapse of PPPs, right? So that means public private partnership. The collapse in public private partnership, different types of PPPs are there, right? So because of the collapse, there is an underinvestment in infrastructure, right? Now, survey has also talks about tax litigation and income tax department. What survey is saying that tax litigation is taking toll on economy, and this is very important, which I'm going to tell you now. The survey is saying that income tax department is the biggest litigant. So that means IT department is filing a lot of cases, but according to survey, IT department is losing 85% of the cases, right? So that means that is taking a toll on the economy. They are taking a toll on the exchequer's money, right? Exchequers. So that is the whole thing. Because IT department is not filing cases on their own money. Whatever money they are taking it from exchequer, right? Which is our money, nobody's else, right? So that is the whole thing. Now, survey is also talking about farmers' income and agriculture sector. So let's talk about it. And this is important from, again, very important from prelims point of view. So farmers' income is what he said. Survey saying that farmers' income losses or farmer income losses from climate change could be between 15 and 18% on an average, rising to anywhere between 20 to 25% in unirrigated areas of country. Now, how this becomes important from prelims point of view? Because they can ask, according to economic survey, climate change has a considerable impact on irrigation or farmers' income. So, if you have not read economic survey or if you have not heard about these points, you can say that yeah, maybe or maybe not, right? You will not be confident, but economic survey has specifically told about this thing, that farmer income losses from climate change could be between 15 and 18% on an average, rising to anywhere between 20 to 25% in unirrigated areas of country. And they are also talking about technologies like drip irrigation, which holds key to future of agriculture. And that's why we are so much in contact with Israel, because Israel is the pioneer in drip irrigation technologies. And they are also saying, surveys also saying that we need to replace power subsidy with direct benefit transfer, because what happens when you give power subsidies to farmers, they use it incessantly and that leads to depletion of groundwater, right? So the survey is talking about replacing power subsidy with direct benefit transfer. And one thing which is very important, which is survey is giving, because this is the data from survey, so it is totally reliable. So survey is saying that in 1960s, less than 20% of agriculture was irrigated. What does it mean? And area under irrigation was 20% or less than 20% in 60s. And now in 2016-17 or 17-18, it is in mid 40s. So right now also more than 50% of the area, or what is of the 50% of the agricultural area is under irrigated or is not lying in the irrigated area, right? So that is the whole thing. And survey is also talking about India's spending on science, which is 0.5% of the GDP. And what is China's? China is spending 1% of the GDP. You may feel like, yeah, this is only the double, right? China is only spending double, but double also matters a lot, because you have to see the scale of the country, scale of both the countries, right? So doubling, if we double the spending on science, that will lead to a lot more researches, right? And yeah, it will have a considerable effect, right? So India's spending on science is 0.5% of GDP. Remember the data. Prelims, it can be asked in prelims, right? Okay, now let's talk about the effect of demonetization and GST on number of taxpayers. So survey is saying that number of tax filers, it has rose by 10.1 million since note ban, right? It was 59 million in 15-16 and it has increased by 10.1 million. And again, very important data. Now they are saying that 4% adults pay personal income tax, and government is reckoning, or government is believing that the number should be 23%. Are you understanding? There's a 19% deficit. So right now 4% of adults are paying personal income tax and government believes it should be 23%, right? And survey is also saying that there is a 50% increase in unique indirect taxpayers in first 6 months of GST, with around 10 million registered taxpayers now compared to an estimated 6.5 million pre-GST, right? Now the thing is, survey is also giving a, it is advising that as tax base widens, finance ministry should cut the share of indirect taxes, as high indirect taxes pinch the poorest the most. But right, you must have heard about regressive taxation, right? Progressive taxation. So indirect taxation is a kind of regressive taxation, because if you are paying, suppose you are paying 3 rupee tax on Britannia biscuit, and Anil Ambani is also paying 3 rupees tax, so it is not affecting him that much, but it is affecting you a lot. So since all of the people are saying paying the same tax, so it becomes aggressive in nature. So that's why survey is advising that they should cut the share of indirect tax now that the number of taxpayers has increased or the tax base has widened, right? So I will try to make some more videos on economic survey, right? This is first video on economic survey, and I will keep on making notes, and then I will keep on adding videos in economic survey, right? Very important from GS paper 3 and prelims. Fine. So this is all. Thank you.